How's it going, folks? Robbie, welcome back to the channel, back on Forza Horizon 6. Just created a new event you might want to check out in-game. So it's a rock crawling event. I did one of these a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of you have been playing it and giving it the likes. It's had a few thousand plays already, which is cool. Thought I'd make another one. This one's a little bit longer, and I'm hoping it's a little bit more challenging. So I'll show you where we are on the map. We're all the way up the top right-hand corner. Over here where all the windmills are, in the inlet area near where one of the towns are and all that kind of thing. So you get the idea. All the way up the top right corner. So the event I've made laps around this coastline all the way along the shoreline. And then we work our way through here, and then there's a bit of a hill climb over there. So let's go all the way to the start, and I'll show you kind of what I've created. Now, one of the complaints I have with this game, as much as I enjoy the game and love the map, Event Lab, we've lost so many props, man. It just pisses me off how much Playground Games is stripped out compared to what we had in the previous game. They better come back, because we're missing, I want to say, a good 40%, maybe even more of what we had. It's ridiculous. Heck, even just the flags. I use flags so much with my events. There's nothing left. They've just taken so many things out. It's just, I don't get it. And it's just, especially when you're making events, it kind of limits to what you can do. You just kind of, you have to repeat yourself over and over again using the same things, because they've taken so much away from us, the bloody bastards. All right, so now here we go. We start off here. Eventually, as you can see, all the, if you're racing on your own, you're going to start here. All the others start behind. Who cares about them? It's all about you. You can be selfish in this one. Got a bit of a rock crawling descent. Not the hardest thing in the world, but you get bounced around a little bit. We do follow the coastline. I've placed fences along the whole way, and they've been positioned in a way that, as we all done, we've driven into the water, and you get to the point where it's so deep you get sent back to you get teleported back to higher ground. So the fence lines have been positioned. I've had to drive along the fence lines the whole way along, right along, rubbing against the fence, until eventually all of the fences have been brought into the point where you're not going to be sinking into the water. The only way to do it now is to deliberately jump out of it. So if you do that, hey, hats off to you. So yeah, there's some rock crawling parts here and there. Again, this part's not the hardest, but it's a bit of fun. It'll bounce around a little bit. You've got a couple of jumps. The danger sign is here to let you know there is a fence right here, because you could land it and crush your nuts on it, and you don't really want to do that. Another jump, not the hardest thing in the world, but yeah, it breaks it up. That way you're not just driving in a boring straight line. Coming up to our first rock crawling road, not the hardest thing. There are some bits and pieces you can see kind of sticking up, which makes it a little bit harder, and you do get bounced around a little bit. My Toyota, which is fairly standard, which I've been testing this on, gets it up here pretty easily. Checkpoints are going to be placed in spots where you're going to have to do these events. You're going to have to go through the sections. You can't really get around it. And if you download an event like this, why are you going around the stuff that's a little bit more challenging? All right, now this section didn't quite work out the way I wanted. I've watched a few off-roading review videos, and they do these sort of things where they got divots in the ground, the channels, so they're kind of testing the vehicle to get up on weird angles to test out the flexibility of the chassis. That was the idea of it. Again, limited to props. So the idea was one wheel's here, the other wheel's here, kind of flex the vehicle over the place. But Forza Physics doesn't allow that. I'll show you when I come through. If you go through it nice and slowly, it can be a bit of a challenge to go through. But at speed, you get to about here when the game realizes, hang on, we're kind of off balance here. We should let physics kick in. So it takes a little while. That's why I put these tubes, these little things here, concrete slabs, just to kind of slow you down. These can be a little bit challenging to get over. If you go too quick, the game, it's 50-50 what it'll do. Sometimes you'll go over it smoothly. Other times you'll get bounced and thrown around and you're all over the place. So the idea is just to slow you down a little bit, so this has a bit more of an effect, but game's physics are a bit wonky at times. So we work our way around here to another spot, which I'm overall pretty happy with, but it didn't quite work out the way I'd like to. It's a 45-degree rock crawl in a sense, but halfway around you got to switch over to the other side. The wall is coming out here. Obviously, I put the danger sign to let you know what's coming up. There's some tires there to absorb the impact, because you're going to hit it. I have rolled a couple of times if you go too quick, especially here when you're going from one side to the other. Again, a little bit something different. Not everyone kind of builds that sort of thing. We follow the coastline again. The fence is in a way where you're not going to fall into the deeper part and have to get teleported back. There's a lot of things buried here and there, as you see. This is the rocks from the actual game, which I can't get rid of. So the sign's there just to let you know. Tires to absorb the impact when you more than likely smash into the wall. Again, a lot of just random junk buried in here to make it a little bit challenging. It's not the hardest thing in the world. My Toyota gets through it. You're going to get bounced around a lot, but you shouldn't get it bottomed out. It's got this little sign there to let you know where to go. Work your way around here. Now, we've got another rock rolling bridge. This one is a little bit higher, as you can see. The original plan was when you come around the coast here, I'd have a road going up here. Then we go that way and then come back down like a massive U. That kind of road there. But the problem was, once you get to a certain depth here, to get the turning angle to make it work, you keep hitting into the too deeper section. So maybe for another rock rolling event I'll try and do that sort of thing where you actually got to drive up and then come back down. But anyway, it didn't work out. So it is kind of steep, not that bad. You can get up there. Mine's a C-Class with 300 or so horsepower. It makes it up there in first gear. Checkpoints, again, are going to be placed roughly on the top here where you got to actually get through. We've got some of these concrete tube things scattered out. They do bounce around a little bit, but once you get to the bottom, you're pretty good. It's not the hardest thing in the world, but you will get thrown around a little bit. They've got a couple of jumps here just to break up the straight bit. This one is like a Top Gear inspiration. You get to jump over some caravans. My C-Class Toyota clears it, and I land roughly here where the rocks are, which throw you out of place. So if you're driving a little slow D-Class, I'll be honest, I got no idea what's going to happen when you hit the caravans. Good luck. The checkpoints will be placed roughly here, so if you do get stuck and you can't get past it, just jump off at an angle and go around it. These rocks, obviously, for the landing for the faster cars over the jump, so they'll throw you out of place a bit. Now, probably one of the hardest spots on the track that I've created is this right here. Once I bring the car around here, you'll understand why. Buried under here. Now, in the prop section, I can't remember off the top of my head whereabouts it is. Not in there. I think it's in the industrial. Yep, these are the ones. Where are they? These two. They don't look like much. They're just little bits of rubble, but they break apart. And when you bury them, it turns into basically quicksand. So it's just a rock formation. As you can see, it's just covered in all that debris and rock. But when I bring the car over, you've got to go through this. If you go too slow, you're not going to get through, especially in a fairly standard car. So I'll show you that in a bit. And we work our way through here. We've got some of these concrete tube things, and not going to slow you down, but a little bit of something to unsettle the car. Now we've got to work our way up the final hill climb. As you can see, it's a bit of a climb. You got these things here, which, they're pretty high off the ground. They're about that one here is about a good foot high, 30 centimeters or so, maybe a little bit more. Forza physics are really random when it decides to kick in. Sometimes you go over these and it unsettles the car. Other times you drive through and 3/4 of the wheels just morphs through that. So it's up to the game's physics at the time. Now, this is going to be set in the wet, so it's going to be a little bit slippery and raining. And as you can see, we climb up here. We've got a bunch of the concrete things as well as buried rocks all over the place. Again, I don't want it super hard, but it is a bit of a first gear, second gear, you're getting slammed around. Got a chicane up in the middle, a little section here where you get nothing, just so you get a bit of a break. On the finish line's at the very top, as you can see. Now, it gets a little bit bumpier up here. My car just gets to the top. Like, there's ones I've just plopped down randomly where it's all over the place. This part here can get, not going to say it's hard, but it's a little bit more challenging. And as you can see, it is a little bit steep. And then you get to the top, you finally get to the finish line all the way up here. Now, let's go for a drive so you can see it in action. Again, it's not the hardest thing in the world. This is one of the Toyota Offroaders. I think the only thing it's got is some of the exterior. It's got the snorkel, and I think it's an exhaust. 300 and something horsepower. It is C-Class. It's not fast. And this thing gets there to the end. You can see we get bounced around a little bit coming down this little road bridge here. It's not the end of the world. Checkpoints are going to be placed in positions where you have to go through this stuff. And again, why download an off-roading track if you don't want to do all the jumps and go for all the tricky bits? That's part of the reason why you do it. Again, the jumps are there purely to break it up, just so you're not driving down the straight parts. Again, this is not that hard, but there's some ones positioned in places where you will get thrown around a little bit. just something different. The off-roading in this game is a little bit disappointing, so we have to make it ourselves. All right, we'll work our way down here through this section. You get to see the concrete throws you around. This didn't quite have the effect I wanted, but if you go through slow enough, you can kind of get chucked around a little bit as we work our way up to the 45-degree rock crawling area down to first gear. Yeah, it didn't quite work out. Sometimes you can do it, sometimes you can roll. Yeah, sadly that didn't quite work out. I'll try and perfect it better for the next one. So we work our way through here, just junk and shit everywhere basically. You're going to get thrown around, but that's all really good fun. You're pretty much not going to get the same lap time every time around. If you go too fast, you're just going to get thrown around. Again, checkpoints are going to be in places where you have to go through this stuff. As we work our way around the peninsula there, now we've got to do a little bit of a rock crawl down to first gear, a little bit of a rough entry, which is on purpose to slow you down as we slowly come on, Toyota. You can do it. Red line the tits off this car. Checkpoints again are going to be in places where you have to go through this. Because of the angle of the track where you're kind of leaning down towards the beach side and the Forza physics, it constantly tries to push you into the fence on the right, so you're constantly adjusting your steering line to avoid doing that. All right, let's follow the coast over a couple of jumps. Again, we're going to clear the caravans quite comfortably with this car. D-classes will hit it. No idea what's going to happen. Now up to this part here, if you don't go fast enough, oh, you can hear it. Actually, I'll go slower just to show it now, just as you can see. I'll slow it down a little bit. The rubber, you can hear it creaking and cracking. And boom, if you go slow enough, it's quicksand. So you got to keep your momentum up to get through the quicksand, basically. Or if you get stuck, you can kind of get yourself out with the rewind or shimmy yourself out, come around and just try it again with a little bit more speed. But if you get the line right and slow down, it is almost impossible to get your car out of it. It's horrible, which is why I put it there. And we just get through. There we go. Again, it's going to be raining, so it's going to be a little slippery in places. As we work away, coming up through here, you can see the Forza physics. The wheels just morph through it. Sometimes it slows you down, sometimes it doesn't. It's just the luck of the draw. As we work our way up through now, the last hill climb again, it's going to be raining, a little bit slippery, so bring some good off-roading tyres. As you can see, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but you're going to get bounced around quite a lot, depending on your suspension and the car. Regular SUVs, I don't think will like this too much, but that's half the fun. Get to test out these things properly. I wish we had some off-roading parks in this game. We had some pretty cool ones back on Forza Horizon 4 days. This game doesn't really have them, which is disappointing. Probably coming in a future DLC. As we make way to the top, and the finish line is at the top here. That is it. That is the test track I built. I wonder what it's like if you drive down full speed in this direction. That'll end up in a roll. Maybe we'll do that at the end. So the share code is down below. Go nuts, enjoy it. Hope you have fun and enjoy it like the last time I built one. A few thousand of you have played it and enjoyed it, so hopefully this one's a little bit more challenging, a little bit more fun. I'm Rob. Cheers for watching. See you in the next one.